Hey, Sean and Allison here from Spoken Garden.
Hi guys.
Hey, we're here to help you become a better gardener. And today we're gonna do some Q&As.
Yeah, so we're not able to go live with you today and we apologize for that.
Guys.
But we wanted to make sure we brought this video to you. So we're gonna take care of some questions.
Yep. We've got some current questions last couple days, maybe the last couple weeks, and we want to address those because they're very timely.
They are.
And not only will it help the people that asked, but it'll hopefully help a lot more people out there with the same question but haven't asked it yet.
So with that, let's get started on our first question.
Here we go. So our first question comes from Val Jalava, and it was from our video, Vermillionaire Firecracker Plant Care, Friday Plant Chat. And now here's our Vermillionaire, our firecracker plant. It's still doing really well. It's almost November. Now our plant, you can see it still has all its leaves. It's looking really good. Where we live, zone 8B, this is considered a perennial, and this plant will grow as a perennial in zones 8A through 11B. So something to consider when you're picking this plant or planting it out in your yard. Make sure it's in your zone for a perennial if that's how you want to grow it. And then also it's going to need full sun and well-draining soil. Now the question is, I just love this plant. I have 2 of them and just wondering to overwinter these. I read you don't cut them back, but do you water them throughout the winter? And this is a great question. Now, it's kind of a tricky question for us because we're really spoiled. You can see it's raining right now. And being in the Pacific Northwest on the west side of Washington State, it rains pretty much the whole fall and winter around here. We have some sunny days here and there, but it's really wet here. And so we don't have to water a lot of our plants in our yard throughout the fall and winter. There are times when it gets a little dry, but still, it's still cool. The plants aren't respiring. They're not using up a lot of water through the fall and winter months because it's so cool out here with the temperature. So saying all that, depending where you live and how much moisture you get during the fall and winter months will depend if you actually need to water this plant or not. You can see here again, it's still got its leaves, it's still photosynthesizing, it's using water from the roots to in that photosynthesis and to keep itself hydrated and to live. So right now it does need still to have that regular watering, but fortunately we get a lot of water, so we don't have to water these. But if you're in a drier climate and it's a little bit warmer than say here, if you live in a higher zone than 8B and it's really sunny and it's dry, you're going to need to water it from time to time. You don't want the soil to totally dry out. So just keep a check on it. Use your finger and go down and check the soil if you can. Make sure around the zone, the root zone, that there's moisture so the plant can still stay hydrated and still go through its biological process of photosynthesizing. And we hope that's helpful. Let us know down in the comments if that was enough information or if you want some more information on that.
Okay, our next question comes from Lolita Dark Music, and this is based on the Hotlips Plant Chat that we filmed about a year and a half ago. A lot of you know this is one of our most favorite plants in our yard. It's just such a prolific bloomer. The hummingbirds love it. There's so many reasons to plant this in your garden. We've actually taken cuttings of this and have them planted out in our yard now, and they're about probably a quarter of the size of this plant, but it's their first year in the ground. So we'll keep you posted on that. But Lolita has a great question about this plant, and I know a lot of us have had this, probably had this question before too. So she says, hi from Los Angeles, California. Mine, meaning her Hotlips plant, mine was so beautiful, and now they started changing colors from bright red to a lighter pink. Now the blooms are very sparse. Poor hummingbirds, can you tell me what I'm doing wrong? Well, first of all, Lolita Dark Music, don't assume you're doing anything wrong. We have seen colors change. The flower colors have definitely changed on this plant throughout the year. Generally, temperature is involved, like your outside temperatures. If it's too hot or too maybe cold, it's going to fluctuate and kind of affect the outcome of the plant. So we've definitely noticed, right now you see the bicolor, like the white and the red, and that's kind of the typical look for this Hotlips. Isn't that so beautiful? Just love this. But we have noticed all white flowers before, and we've also noticed a ton of just red. Like actually there's a red, solid red right here. So one thing to know about this plant is that in the extreme hotter temperatures, you're going to see a color change. Whether in your area it might be lighter colored flowers like you're seeing, or it might be darker. We've seen kind of lighter in general, like the hotter it is. In the cooler temperatures, usually spring and fall, you're gonna see more of the bicolor. So that could be part of the answer. There's a lot of variables that could factor into other reasons why the color's changing, but temperature is usually known to be the main cause. Okay, Lolita, the next part of your question asked about the sparseness of your flowers, meaning you're not seeing as many flowers as you used to. We've definitely experienced that with this plant as well, and we've deadheaded this plant 3 times since spring. So we've had this happen with the plant before, and we realized, oh, we need to deadhead it. You know, it kind of like ran its course. So we deadheaded it, waited a couple weeks, the flowers came back, and the hummingbirds were happy again. So it could be that you just need to deadhead and maybe just kind of shape it up a little bit and allow for another flush of growth. Where you are in LA, I believe that's zone 9 or 10, probably wherever, depending on where you live. Your climate's a lot warmer than ours here in zone 8B. So you probably could give it another deadhead right at this time of the year. So we hope that's helpful, and let us know in the comments if you need any more information, but don't assume you're doing anything wrong. Just have fun with your plant, experiment a little bit, and see what happens.
So our last question comes from Neri Ailman, and thank you, Neri, for submitting your question here. And this comes from our video, Tools and Products to Make Gardening Easier this fall. It was one of our Saturday morning live garden chats just recently. And so thank you again, Neri. And so your question is, since winter is around the corner, could you give us tips how to winterize some plants? I don't personally have a greenhouse. Thank you. So, and we get that, Neri. Not everybody's gonna have a greenhouse. And so we wanted to go over a few tips with you and everyone else to let them know how they can overwinter their plants, especially if they don't have a greenhouse. So one way to look at things is to say, okay, I have plants in my garden, they're in the ground or they're in raised beds, how do I overwinter them? And then I'll go through and explain how to overwinter potted plants in just a minute. But now, in the ground plants. So what you first can do is use mulch around your plants, and you can put down 2 to 4 inches of mulch and make sure that that goes down around the plants, but a little bit away from the plant so it's not up next to it. And what's going to happen is that mulch is going to insulate all of those roots from any cold temperatures, from any frost or freezing temperatures, and it'll help regulate the soil around those plant roots and help it to continually grow even below ground when everything else is shutting down or going dormant. So that's one thing you can do to overwinter your plants if they're in a garden bed. The other thing you can do for plants in a garden bed or a raised bed is not only mulch, but plants like the herbaceous perennials, like we've got some coneflowers and we've got some Shasta daisies here. Don't cut them back. Once they die, once all of this dies and it goes back down to the ground and the plant goes dormant, don't cut it back down to the ground. Leave this up here, not only for the wildlife and the critters to have, you know, seeds to chew on and eat, and to have some habitat for them, but the plant will also basically insulate itself with this top portion of the plant down below. It'll insulate itself. So that's another form of insulation over and above the mulch, and that'll help protect the plants over the winter. So if you have plants in containers that you want to overwinter, like these ones down here, one thing you can do is you can physically take the whole plant in the container, don't take it out of the container, leave it in there, and then move the whole container with the plant over up against your house or another type of building, whether that's an outbuilding or a shed or something else, something that has residual heat, that's going to retain residual heat over a day during the fall and winter months, that'll then come back out and protect the plant over the nighttime and make sure that it doesn't get exposed to all that harsh climate, that harsh cold weather. Now, if you can't or aren't able to move a potted plant up against a building or your house, another thing you can do is do what's called healing in. And this is a good example of that. We've got some mulch here, and what we've done is we've just kind of pushed some of the mulch away, placed this pot down in there, and then mounted the mulch up against it, and this will help insulate the plant roots in this pot over the fall and winter months and help protect it against any cold and freezing, deep freezing weather. And one more option to help protect your plants over the winter, your potted plants over the winter, is you can bring it inside, either into your garage or indoors. But this gets a little bit more plant specific, and each plant's going to have a little bit different needs. So if you end up doing this, make sure to do your research and make sure that the plant is being cared for in the proper way.
Okay, you guys, so we hope that was helpful today. The questions that you submitted, thank you for commenting and asking those questions, and let us know if you need any more help on any of those.
Yeah, guys, and definitely leave your comments and questions down below about what we covered here today. And if you haven't subscribed already to our channel, make sure you do so you get updates on our latest videos.
Thank you for watching. Again, sorry we're not able to be here with you live today. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll be back with you on our next video.
Yep, stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.